sunk an enemy destroyer.
Hey team, this is Ripper here. You guys are doing fantastic today. Got a fun video talking about the Joshua Humphreys. Yes, the Tier 11 super ship that is now allowed in clan battles. And actually, they've been allowed before, but this time you can take up to 3 super ships, as you can see in the background here. 3 super ships, and one of them is a J Humphreys. We'll talk about it. What is it, and how is it playing clan battles today? And as always, before we begin, like, subscribe, button below. Appreciate all the supporters of the channel. If you see value in what we're doing here, leave a comment, leave a like, share the video, whatever you like to do, or just watch it for pure enjoyment. And we can't thank you guys enough, providing a great platform to build a good community, learn something at the same time, and have fun doing it. So let's get right to it. J Humphreys. First of all, Clan Battles is back, guys, and I didn't even realize that. I've been so busy trying to get, ATP check rides and licenses and so forth, and training and with the Air Force and so forth. But a lot of things going on, and I know the holiday season's coming up. This will be one of my last videos here. I'm going to post a bunch before I leave. One of my last videos before we get back into the swing of things after the holiday season goes on. Hope you guys are going to have a great holiday season with you and your families or loved ones, whatever that may be. And again, as always, be safe out there and have a good time. But J Humphreys, the Tier 11 super ship destroyer, basically the super gearing. So it's basically a continuation of the Tier 10 tech tree line of the gearing, which is, it went Fletcher, gearing, and now J Humphreys. And if I had to sum it up, it's basically a bigger, more health pull gearing. So I like the gearing a lot, by the way. I always pick nowadays the gearing for competitive or ranked, and it is so super fun, and I enjoy it. Now having a J Humphreys, which is another super gearing in the sense, it's very, very enjoyable, very fun. So TLDR, do I recommend it? Absolutely. It's a great ship. And you'll see why in the background here. And again, we're doing a super brawl push to Alpha Bravo. I do not recommend it if you guys don't have the stomach for it, but it's just pure fun. We do the super pushes down to Alpha Bravo, especially on this map. I like this map for this reason, because it's land of fire. And I've always said in my videos that Charlie is difficult if you don't have, I would say, strong players that can defend on their own to do that. I'd rather just stay together as one cohesive unit, move together as force, and take Alpha Bravo. And it's easier to defend Alpha Bravo because you just got to stay in the middle here, go back and forth, use his eyes on this cover, and you can just go dip in and out of Bravo. As you can see, Charlie's so far away, difficult to defend against, and even attack sometimes with all these islands. Now, the downside is, obviously, if you do a super push, the enemy can flank you, come from the rear. It can swing, and if they can focus fire you guys as you're coming down the conga line, that's the downside of doing this. So again, there's pros and cons on both of this. You guys try out whatever technique works with your team. Again, they were just trying out different things here on this channel. We're having fun doing it, and it's just, hey, what if, right? But J Humphreys, why is it good? So the biggest, I would say, gimmick, if you want to call it that, is this funny button key, the F key, which just gives you basically that 3-burst salvo that you see a lot of destroyers do and a couple of other cruisers do as well. And the main battery damage actually increases by 50%. So that is the gimmick right there. Everything else is standard kind of gearing things. The torpedoes are kind of similar, 16.5 kilometers, which is a really awesome range, by the way. I like that a lot. They do significant damage, and they have a 7.5-second reaction time. The guns are basically 127mm guns, kind of like similar gearing, although they look a little different on them, but they have like little turrets and radar domes and radar. Man, you would think these things are like 1980 Cold War era kind of guns, but they're kind of the similar guns of the gearing. I feel like they don't arc as much. Correct me if I'm wrong. They feel a little bit more comfortable to aim at, but again, same dispersion, same whatever, everything of the gearing. They're there to just fend off other destroyers and maybe start fires in smoke. The biggest thing I've seen lately, guys, are doing in clan battles with the Humphreys and the Jacksonville, you can see in the back there. Jacksonville, the Super Wooster, if you want to call it that. Novabris, Super Petro. I mean, we got a lot of super ships going on today. So it behooves people to take 3 super ships, because why not? You want to give yourself the best advantage. As you can see in self-engaging, we're here on the Daring. I think we almost outspot the Daring, I believe. Daring is 6.0 concealment. We have 5.9. So let's take a look while we're waiting. Yeah, 6.0. We have 5.9. So we outspot the Gearing. That's the one thing I like about the gearing and the J Humphreys, is you outspot majority of things out there, except for Shimakaze and Minagumo and Jaeger kind of things. But 5.9 concealment is pretty darn awesome. Anything below 6 is really good. As you can see, the AA is pretty decent. The gearing had decent AA. Even without the defensive AA fire, it's okay, which does significant amounts of damage to airplanes if they're not armored like multiplanes. But anyways, I digress. we have the J. Humphreys being able to lay the smoke screen down for the Jacksonville, which I've seen a very, very powerful combo, guys. Try it out. I've seen literally 2 Jacksonville sometimes get smoked up by either a Gearing or a J. Humphreys, and they just sit in the smoke and farm to your heart's content because the Jacksonville has the super penetration, basically almost pins everything with its funny button key, and it just melts everything. And if you have and the long smoke screen, look at that. Look at our smoke screen right here. Almost a 2-minute smoke screen, American smoke screen, pretty awesome, from a J. Humphreys or Gearing, laying down for Jacksonville's or other light cruisers can literally melt everything in its way, and I think that was a strategy I've been seeing a lot of teams do, like where you have a Gearing or a J. Humphreys literally out front spotting and torping and then laying down a wall of smoke screen for a Jacksonville's or Woosters or even Smolenskas or whatever that is, and they just go to town on any kind of unsuspecting cruiser and battleship. And I feel like that is the gimmick of today's meta, where it works. And I'm not saying it's awesome, but it just works. You know, it works. It's not pretty, but it works. You're just smoking up those radar cruisers that are just going to go to town on everybody and just melt everything in its path. Right now, we're being spotted by the radar from the Nova Brisk, which is that, again, like that Petro 12-kilometer radar detection. It shouldn't last too long. Let me take a look at how long the Nova Brisk radar lasts. Yep, that 12-kilometer, 21 seconds, so it's pretty quick. So you can just kind of just outmaneuver, move around, get in between cover, and really just stay away from everybody and just be that standoffish range. And again, what are you trying to do with the basics idea of a Gearing and the firepower of it and what it's supposed to do? And that's exactly why we would really run it. And I like the J. Humphreys because, again, it's that similar play style as the USS Gearing, which is really, really awesome. And I think everybody would agree the Gearing is super powerful and competitive because of the concealment, the torpedoes, the guns, the long-lasting smoke, which is what I've started becoming a very good I would say, user of the smoke, because it's a very, very powerful tactic where you are literally not being that aggressive, eccentric, just a narcissist kind of player, like, oh, it's all about me, I'm going to save the smoke for me. When you start being that team player where you're actually using the smoke to support your other teammates, I find that works out so well. And that's why I like World of Warships, because it does encourage that team gameplay, which I encourage a lot of you Destroyer players to think about. Is it's not all about you, it's all about your team. And if you can lay a wall of smoke, especially in the American smokescreen line, if you can lay out an entire wall of smokescreen, which is literally a mobile island, and you can shield your entire team from the line of sight of the enemy, and actually provide cover for your teammates to move into position and get into a good firing position to mitigate damage, that is an awesome feat for you to do. Look at that dodging of torpedoes right there. Really awesome. The maneuverability in the J. Humphreys, the Gearing is totally well. And again, here we're going to do an engagement on the Daring. Ooh, nice torpedo. Again, random torpedo hits all the time I get on these American torpedoes. And here we are. We're going to see how the guns and the burst fire actually works. I normally don't save the burst fire until the very, very end, until somebody's about to die, because notice the reload time is 27.9 seconds. You're talking like battleship reload. So I don't want to be caught with my pants down waiting for a reload on the guns. And I'm really just using that as literally to seal the deal, kill the guy off when he's almost low health, and that 50% damage is required. So notice the Marcel's almost dead here, 7,400. He's pretty much dead. Here, funny button key right here. I'm going to send that final salvo, blind firing right into him, and that extra 50% just takes him out right there, Marceau. He's got that improved French saturation armor, so French saturation gimmick. So I know I had to take as much firepower as I could to get him out of the game. Marceau is super deadly. And again, we're going to lay this smoke screen down just to conceal our movement. We didn't want to take unnecessary damage. Now, a good thing I think about the J. Humphreys is the 28,950 HP you get with the flag, the basic and superintendent and so forth, or I'm sorry, survivability expert. You are getting about 29,000 hit points as opposed to the Gearing's 24-ish, 23-ish. So you're getting an extra 5,000 health pool. So that is the upside of having J. Humphreys. You get a little bit more health because you don't have any heals in the Gearing and so forth. The Gearing, although I do think it's smaller, more slimmer, lower line profile, makes it harder to hit. I've noticed I've dodged so many incoming fire from shots from battleships and cruisers in a Gearing. The J. Humphreys, although it's a little bit bigger and a little bit higher than the waterline, so I think it is a little bit easier for guys to shoot from within 12 kilometers or less. So maybe that may be one of the downsides, the trade-offs you have to play off, because the Gearing I still think is a maneuverable, hard-to-hit ship. The J. Humphreys is a little larger, more health pool, so you get the extra health pool, but a little bit larger ship to make it easier for the gunners to shoot at, and you take a lot of significant damage. Again, the gun reload, again, standard. The way I built build, you'll see the build at the end of the screen. 2.5-ish, 2.3 second reloads, pretty awesome with adrenaline rush kicking in. I don't really use AP. The torpedoes, again, I already talked about it. The bread and butter is the F key. Smoke screen, man, awesome. Long cooldown time, but man, it lasts a long time. And of course, the engine boost giving you that 8% on the buff as for the speed. Now, the speed of the Humphreys, I believe, is a little bit faster than the gearing. If I'm not mistaken, I think it may be similar, but maybe slightly faster. It's still in that 40 knot range with the engine boost, which is more than enough than what I need to operate with the gearing and so forth. And as you can see, we're just literally guarding Alpha Bravo. Now, look what the enemy team has to do. They literally have to try to punch a hole through either Bravo or Alpha, and that becomes a little bit difficult. If your team is good enough at focus firing, it is a difficult maneuver to accomplish, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but you want to stack the odds in your favor because you want to keep your team close by so you can spot, torp, call out shots, and focus fire, and that's the name of the game in clan battles. And as you can see right there, laying smoke screen out from Jacksonville's, I call it the smoke jack up maneuver. It really works out in the long run, very, very effective. I've seen a lot of these, super Unicum teams do it, and I was like, wow, this really does work. It may not be pretty, but it does work. And yeah, pretty darn awesome. But you guys let me know what you think about the smoke Jacksonville up technique. Pretty darn powerful in my personal opinion. If you do it correctly and you work together, it is a very, very powerful combination. So that's pretty much it. Outside of that, what else do I see at J. Humphrey? Not much. I mean, it's just the extra health pull and the funny button key. But you can really operate with the gearing only and save up one slot for another super ship. And I've seen some guys run with 2 Jacksonvilles and maybe an extra super battleship and so forth. So that does work in that regard. But outside of that, yeah, I think J. Humphreys is a very, very powerful combination. And I'm just firing my F button key because the game match is about to end. And there he goes. Daring goes down, and we hold off in a very kind of simplistic, and you just win on points basically from capping those 2 spots right there. So that's my thought on the J. Humphreys. I definitely recommend it. If you are a gearing player, definitely recommend it, and I definitely recommend getting it. It's worth it. It costs a lot of money to operate, but in the long run, it's a fun item to get, and we did seal the deal on that one. J. Humphreys working its action right there. We didn't get too many torpedo hits. Like I said, torpedoes are hard to come by these days because with all the hydro spotting and submarines and so forth, but it does what it needs to do. Look at that AA damage. The AA, again, it's like the gearing AA. It's pretty darn strong and powerful, and we get some gun action right there as well. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, button below. Appreciate all the supporters of the channel. Hope you guys have a great holiday season, and until next time, we'll see you guys soon. And when I'll let you know when I get back from the holidays and do some more videos. Clan battle season's on right now, so enjoy that, and you guys stay safe out there. And when you see me, say hi. Take care. Cheers.